Hello beautiful people, my name is Chinaza Victory and you're welcome back to Nazi Styles YouTube channel. In this video, you're going to learn how to perfectly cut and sew this trendy Bubu kaftan with deep V neckline and multiple straps at the back. If this sounds like something you're interested in, please keep watching and make sure to watch this video to the end. Let's move straight into the video. I'll be making use of this beautiful African print popularly known as Ankara fabric, and this is 6 yards, but out of these 6 yards I'll be cutting out 3.5 yards. That is what I am going to use to make this bubu, and I have my other tools here: the ruler, the chalk, the tape rule, and my scissors. I'm going to start by folding the whole 3.5 yards of fabric into 2 equal parts vertically. After folding it, I'm going to pick up the edge this way and fold it again, okay, in such a way that all the selvages of the Ankara will be on one side. That's the part I am touching. The part of Ankara that has that right up, that is the selvage. All of them will be at one side. That's how to know that you've gotten the folding correctly. The first measurement I'm going to mark is the neck width, and I'll be making use of 4 inches for the neck width. This is how wide I want the neck to be. Starting from the folded part of the fabric, I measured and marked 4 inches. For the front neck depth, I'll be making use of 7.5 inches. You can even go deeper. This depends on what you want and how deep you want it to be at the front side. So I'll proceed to connect the 7.5 inches to the neck width with my straight ruler this way. For the back neck depth, I'll be making use of 12 inches. If you want yours to come down a little bit more, you can make use of either 13 inches or even 14 inches. This totally depends on what you want, right? So I'll proceed to mark 12 inches at that point. Then I'll connect it to the neck width just like I did for the front neckline. Starting from the folded part of the fabric, I'm going to measure and mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2. I'll place the mark there. Now from that point where I marked the shoulder measurement, I am going to be taking my sleeve length. This depends on how long you want the sleeve to be. I'll be making use of 13 inches for mine, so I'll simply mark 13 inches there. From that point, I'm going to come down by 12 inches. This 12 inches is how wide I want the sleeve opening to be, okay? So go ahead and mark your preferred measurement of sleeve opening. Then I'll proceed to connect the marks with my ruler this way. Starting from the folded part of the fabric, I am going to check the measurement I have from that point to where I marked my sleeve length, and I got 21. Now I'll come over to this sleeve opening line. Instead of marking that 21, I am going to mark 20 inches just to get a little bit of a slanty line at the sleeve opening. I always like this part to come in a little bit. That's why I'm marking 20 instead of 21. So I'm going to connect the two marks together. You see that when I connect it, it will give me a slightly slanty line. I'm sure you noticed that from the beginning of this tutorial, I didn't mention anything like a borderline or a shoulder slope. This is because for this particular style, there will be no joining at the shoulder. As you can see, the upper side of the fabric is folded, and that is the shoulder of this dress. It will remain folded this way. I'm not going to be cutting out anything around the shoulder. So starting from the top of the fabric, which is also the shoulder line, I am going to measure and mark the length of my dress. This is how long or how short you want your dress to be. So from that point now, you're going to take that measurement, and mine is 60 inches. So I am going to measure 60 inches starting from that point, and then I'll connect all the marks using my straight ruler. So from the length of the dress, I'm going to come down by 2 inches for the hem allowance. This 2 inches is what I'm going to be folding in at the down part of the dress. At this point, I'm going to decide on how big or how slim I want this bubu dress to be, and I'll be making use of the biggest part of my body measurement, which is my hip circumference. So I'll come over to the sleeve opening line and I'm going to mark my hip divided by 4, that is 12.5. I'll mark 12.5, then I'll add extra 2.5 inches to that. Then I'll add extra 1 inch again for the size seam allowance. Altogether, it gave me 16 inches. So this 16 inches is what I am going to keep marking all the way down to the hem of the dress. I'll keep marking 16 inches. This is because I am making a straight bubu. So 16 inches all the way, then I'll proceed to connect all the marks together. I'll come over to this part of the armhole. I'm going to come out by 1 inch at that point and then give it a very nice curve following the 1 inch mark this way. So to mark where my inner pocket is going to start from, I'll simply come down from the shoulder by 18 inches by the side of the dress this way, and I'll place a mark there. For the side slit, starting from the length of the dress, okay, I am going to go up by 17 inches by the side this way. That is how long the slit is going to be. That part will be open for free movement. So I have placed a mark there. Before cutting out, the next thing I'm going to mark now is the position of the back straps, right? And I'll be marking it along the back neckline. So I'm going to come down from the shoulder by 1.5 inches along that back neckline. Now starting from that 1.5 inches, I'll start marking 2.5 inches interval. Okay, from that point I'll mark 2.5 inches. Now these measurements are not constant. They are not constant. You can actually make use of 3 inches interval depending on what you want. Okay, so from that 2.5 I'll come down by another 2.5 inches, then I'll come down by the next 2.5 inches and think it's okay. At this point I have 1 2 3 4 points where I'll be placing the strap. I will proceed to extend these marks now. Okay, I will extend the marks to give me the lines. The next step is to write down the measurement of all the straps starting from the very first one. So what I have here for the first strap is 3.5 inches. I am going to write it number 1, 3.5 inches, representing strap 1. I'll come over to the second position and I'll measure what I have there, and it gave me 2.75 inches. I am going to write it down number 2, 2.75 inches. Then for the third position, I will check what I have. It gave me 2 inches. I will simply write it down. Then the last one, I have 1 inch at that point. I will simply write down 1 inch for the last strap position. Okay, now before cutting out the fabric that you're going to use for these straps, you're going to do small calculation. For the first strap where I have 3.5, I am going to multiply by 2 and that will give me 7 inches. Now 7 inches plus 1 inch for the seam allowance to give me 8 inches. That means the length of that number 1 is 8 inches. That's what I am going to cut out, and I will use this method for all. After that, the next thing is to cut the dress. And you know that whenever we're making a bubu, we used to cut out the back neckline first. That's because the back neckline used to be the shorter neckline all this while. But in this particular case now, in this style, the shorter neckline we have here is the front neckline, which means that I am going to be cutting out the front neckline first. After cutting out the front neckline and cutting every other part of the dress, we will come back and rearrange to cut the back neckline. Please don't cut out the back neckline yet though. As you can see, I only cut out the front neckline, then I'll proceed to cut out the sleeve area. I'll cut the side, and while cutting the side, when I get to the point where I marked for the inner pocket, I am going to place a notch there. Same thing goes for when I get to where I marked for the slit opening, the side slit opening. I am going to also place a notch there. Okay. Before I cut out the back neckline, I'll first of all open up the fabric. Okay, I'm going to open it up and arrange it vertically. Just watch to see how I am going to arrange it so that you don't make any form of mistake. So I'm trying to rearrange the fabric this way. After arranging it, you notice that the front part of the bubu will now be on one side while the back part will be on the other side. Okay, just see the way I am arranging it. I want you to watch carefully to see how I am doing this to avoid any mistake. So after folding it vertically, here is the back neckline. As you can see, this side is the front neckline and here is the shoulder of the dress. So I'm going to be cutting out this part of the back neckline. I will simply follow the line and carefully cut out the back neckline. After cutting out the back neckline, I am going to be making the strap marks visible again using my chalk. So after that, I will then use my scissors to place little notches at each of the mark. Okay, I will be placing notches at all the marks for the strap. I'll be making use of this leftover lining fabric as the facing to turn the neckline, and the measurement of this lining fabric is 29 inches length by 10 inches on fold. Okay, the length is 29 inches by 10 inches on fold. While the fabric for the facing is still on fold, I am going to place it right under the Ankara fabric this way. I will arrange it very well and align all the folded parts together. Okay, I will ensure that the folded parts of the back bodies, that's the center back, aligns with the folded parts of the facing, and I'll also ensure that the folded parts of the front bodies, the front part of the bubu, which is the center front, I will make sure that it aligns with that folded part of the facing this way. You can make use of your pins to hold it down. So the next thing is to pick up my scissors and follow the shape of the neckline to trim off the excess fabric on that facing this way. I'm going to be cutting exactly the shape of the neckline, starting from the back all the way to the front neckline. Next, I'll transfer the notches that I have along the back neckline. I'll transfer it on this facing. Okay, I'm just going to notch that part again so that the facing will also have the point where I'll be attaching the straps. After that, I'm going to determine how wide I want the facing to be. It's not supposed to be too wide actually, so I'll be making use of 3 inches all the way. So around the front neck depth, I'll come down by 3 inches and I'll keep marking 3 inches at the neckline. Following the shape of the neckline, I'll continue to mark these 3 inches till I get to the other part of the neckline. I'll just keep doing this. Even around the shoulder, I'll mark 3 inches till I get to the back neckline. Then I'll connect all the marks. I'll then follow the shape and cut it out. This is what it should look like by the time you open it up this way. I've gone ahead to cut out the pieces of fabric that I'll be using for the straps at the back. Like I mentioned earlier, to get the real length of the strap, starting from the first point, the measurement I got there was 3.5, right? Now this 3.5, you're going to multiply it by 2, it will give you 7 inches. Now 7 inches plus 1 inch for the seam allowance, for the joining allowance, that will give you 8 inches. So I have 8 inches here by 2.25 inches. The wideness of this of this piece of fabric is 2.25 inches, while the first strap is 8 inches. Now you're going to use this method to calculate the rest of the measurements to get the length of each of the strap for each point, but the wideness is the same. Okay, so I will take it to my sewing machine and I'm going to be folding it this way, right side facing each other, so that I can close up these parts, right, using 0.5 inch. This depends on how wide you want your own strap to be. So I will repeat the same process for all the pieces, then I will turn them inside out and tell you the next thing to do. So I've gone ahead to do just that, and I will set the straps aside. Then I'm going to come in with the pieces of fabric that I'll be using for the inner pocket, and I cut out 4 pieces of fabric for the inner pocket, and the measurement I have here is 9.5 inches by 8 inches. Okay, I'll also set it aside and move to the next step. So it's time to turn the neckline with the facing and also attach the straps, and I've laid my fabric flat on the table with the right side facing up. I'll come in with the facing now, and I'll be placing it around the neckline, right side facing each other. The right side of the facing is touching the right side of the fabric, and I will ensure to align the necklines properly. I'll make sure that the back neckline on the facing matches with the back neckline on the bodice, and I'm going to be matching all the notches so that the neckline will align properly. Okay, at each point I am going to be pinning down. I'll pin down round the neckline to hold it firm. So after using my pins to secure the facing and the fabric together, I went ahead to also mark out 0.5 inch round the neckline, following the shape of the neckline. This is very important. I marked out the 0.5 inch seam allowance, and that is exactly where I'll be sewing when I want to sew. I will bring in the straps at this point, and I am going to be inserting on one side of the back neckline first. Okay, these are the straps. They are 4 in number. I will start with the longest one. I'm going to locate the notch. Remember, we placed notches around the back neckline. I will locate the first notch, and I'll align the strap right at that point where I have the first notch. Okay, I am going to place it at that point and arrange it very well. Then I'll use my pin to hold it down. After that, I'll come in with the second strap, and I'll locate the second notch. I'll place it at that point as well. Look at the way I am putting it. I am coming in from outside of the facing. Okay, that is how to place it. Just watch to see how I'm placing it, and I'll align it very well around that neckline. Then I'll use my pin to hold it. I will do the same thing for the third and the fourth strap as well. So I'll take it to my sewing machine, and I'm going to start sewing, starting from somewhere around that last strap, and I'll sew along the place where I've already fixed the strap. I'll come over to the front neckline. I will sew all the way and stop somewhere here before getting to the back neckline. I will stop there first, then I'll come back and show you how to place the straps on the other parts of the back neckline. Okay, after stitching on that part, I am going to be bringing the strap to the other part of the back neckline, and I'll first of all pick up the first strap, which is the longest one. So I'll come out this way. See the way I am putting it. I am going to insert it from outside of the facing, not from inside. Okay, I'll insert it this way from outside. I hope you're seeing the way I'm inserting the strap. I'm trying to locate the first notch I have on that other part of the back neckline, and that's where I'll be placing my strap. Then when I get the point, I will use my pin to hold it down. I am going to repeat the same process for the second strap. I'll pick it up and I'll insert from outside of the facing, not from inside the neckline, or from outside this way. I will insert it. Okay, the strap is under the facing, it is not on top of it, it is right under the facing, in between the facing and the right side of the fabric. That way I will insert and pin down. I will repeat the same process for the third one and the fourth one. So after inserting the straps and pinning down, the next thing is to take it to my sewing machine, and I'm going to start my sewing from where I stopped my stitching earlier. I'll just continue from where I stopped. This is why it is important to mark the same allowance. It will be very easy for you to work on it. So I'll just continue sewing till I come out on the other part of the neckline where my stitch line stopped. Before we proceed, please watch the next clip.
Dear tailors and fashion designers, are you tired of waiting for high-paying customers, or you're even thinking of quitting sewing? Wait, before you pack up that sewing machine, have you thought of making simple styles that could fetch you millions of money this season? My name is Chinaza Victory, the creative director of Nazi Styles, and I've put together an online class where I'll be teaching you 6 different luxury bubu styles that will blow up your fashion business financially this season. And this is one of the styles. I'm talking about classy, unique, luxury and timeless bubu styles that goes beyond trend. In this class, you're going to get an original size chart that works for ready-to-wear businesses, and I'll also be teaching you professional techniques for finishing and styling, including a pricing formula for every tailor and fashion designer. The price for this class is 15,000 naira, but for the next 72 hours, you'll be getting it for just 10,000 naira. If you're ready to start any more while you stress less, simply click the link in my bio or send a WhatsApp message to this number. See you in class.
So after stitching the remaining parts of the neckline, the next thing is going to be to notch the sharp points. I'll come over to this back neck depth where I have the sharp V point. I am going to be notching that part this way. When you're doing this, you have to be very careful not to cut through the same line. And if you don't notch it, it will not relax well at the right side of the fabric. I'll also come over to the front neck depth and I'm going to be notching the V shape at that point as well. I'll repeat the same thing for the shoulder area that has a little bit of the sharp point as well. Okay. So after notching all the sharp edges, the next thing is to bring out the facing to the wrong side of the fabric this way, and this is what it should look like. So before I iron it properly, I'll first of all take it to my overlock machine and I'll be serging the edges of this facing. So after ironing, this is the way it should look. The next thing I'm going to do right now is to come in with my hemming gum and I'll be placing it right under the facing to hold it down together with the fabric using my iron. After that, this is what it should look like when you turn it over to the right side of the fabric. See how beautiful and how neat it looks. So the next thing is to go ahead and attach the pocket pieces to the body of the dress, and I'm going to be locating the notch I placed at the beginning where the pocket should start from, and I'll pick up one piece of the pocket, I'll align it with the notch, I'll place it right side facing each other, I'm going to pin it down. I'll repeat the same process for all the sides of this dress. Then I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and attach the pocket piece to the body using 1 inch. I'll also be attaching a bow to the back neck depth of this dress. Okay, there will be a bow at the back of the dress towards the down part of the neckline behind. And I've already made this rectangular piece and the measurement is 5 inches by 10 inches. Okay, after sewing all the sides, 5 inches by 10 inches. I also made a little belt, not so long. It will be right under this bow at the end of the day. This is what it should look like. Okay, after making the bow. This is what it should look like. And you can make the belt as long as you want. There's no specific measurements. I just gave it a piece of fabric, a shape of a belt. Is going to be right under the bow behind the bubu dress. I'm going to open up the fabric and lay it flat on my table this way, and this is the back part of the bubu. I'll bring in the bow and place it right at that back neck depth. That is where the back neckline ends. I'll place it there and arrange it properly. The next thing I'm going to do is to come in with my hand needle and a matching thread. I'll just attach this bow using my hand needle to that point. Okay, I'll attach it. I'll ensure to attach the 4 corners of the bow on top of that area. If you don't attach the 4 corners of the bow, when you wear it, it will be flying like a butterfly. Just make sure you tack all the corners of the bow so that it will be attached to the body of the dress properly. After attaching the bow, the next thing is to go ahead and hem the sleeve opening. Of course, I've already folded mine. I folded in 1.5 inches. You can fold in any amount of your choice depending on what you want. Okay, then take it to your sewing machine and sew it down. The next thing is to go ahead and close up the sides of the dress, and I'm going to be arranging it properly, right side facing each other this way. I'll simply take it to my sewing machine and I'm going to start sewing 1 inch starting from that sleeve. I'll come over to the pocket area. I'll follow the shape of the pocket. I'll come out this way and continue sewing my 1 inch till I get to the point where I notched for the slit opening at the side. You know, it's going to have a size slit. So I'll stop sewing at that point. Remember, this other part of the dress is going to be open at the slit area. I'll also repeat the same process on the other side of the dress. After that, I'll go ahead and hem the down part of the dress. Remember how many inches you mark for the hem allowance. That's exactly what you're going to fold in. I'll go ahead and fold it in. Then I'll overlock all the rough parts, all the rough edges of this dress. Then I'll show you the final outcome. So after doing all that and you turn it to the right side, this is what you should have. See how beautiful this bubu looks. It looks so pretty. Here is the pocket area sitting pretty at that point. See how beautiful it looks. So neat. Make sure your own is neater than mine. Okay, look at the armhole area. See how relaxed it is. Remember to notch the wrong side of the armhole area so that it will relax well. Look at our pretty bow. Look at the straps behind and everything. I've also finished up the hem of the dress and I used my hemming gum to hold it down at that point. Even the slit area, I used my hemming gum to hold down the same allowance. They are giving it a very neat finishing. So my beautiful people, we have come to the end of today's tutorial. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're yet to do so. Leave a nice comment below, please. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell to get notified each time I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking with me, and see you in my next video. Bye.